Do you like making money? I like making money too, and that's why you're here on this video. Let's talk about why Indianapolis is the best place you're going to invest your money in 2026 and beyond. Hi, I'm Evan Deal with the Lead Icon team in eXp Realty, and in addition to being a broker in the central Indiana market, I am also an investor and landlord in this market as well. And the question is why? Because it makes sense to do so. It's a great place to invest. I talk to investors every single day of my life. Some of them are local, but most of them that I talk to are from other states and even other countries. People from all over the world want to get in on this market because it is hot. It shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, let's talk about some of the hard stats that make Indianapolis a great place to invest. The median home price is actually below the national average. It's around $260,000 and can go up depending on the areas like around Indianapolis. But in Marion County, homes are still relatively affordable. When you compare that to somewhere like Chicago, it's almost half of Chicago's $480,000 price. So you can acquire properties a lot more cheaply, especially in the city of Indianapolis versus other localities in the Midwest and nationally. In general, Indianapolis is like 47% below the national median and 10 to 15% below the Midwest median. So you want to acquire properties and you want to acquire more properties? Of course you do. You're an investor. I'm an investor too. So come look in Indianapolis. But that's not all. Indiana ranks as one of the top 5 to 10 landlord-friendly states. So if you're someone who's looking to acquire a lot of units and have a lot of cash flow, there are very few places better to do it than Indiana. Let's talk about why. So the eviction process in Indianapolis, you have a 10-day notice for non-payment, 3 to 4 weeks total. You know, the national context, it's going to vary here, but on average, it can be like 1 to 3 months. And in some places, it can be almost impossible to evict tenants. So if you have non-paying tenants, you're going to have a lot more success in Indianapolis than other locales. Property taxes are another area where you could save. Though I wish they didn't exist. In Indianapolis, it's roughly a 0.85% effective rate. And in the national context, that's more like 1.1% on average. So you're already saving just in money paid to the local authorities. Now, security deposits are going to be something that fluctuate from state to state, but there is no cap in Indiana. Licensing regulations, you don't need a license in Indiana to be a landlord. Average days on market here, 19 to 28 days. National average, yep, you guessed it, it's more, 45 to 50. So things are moving faster in Indiana than they are in most places in the country. And while this has slowed down, even in Indiana since like 2020 through 2022, hey, it's still moving faster here. So if you want properties, we need to find them quick together. And here's another thing. In Indianapolis itself, there is new inventory that comes online, but there are so many opportunities for rehab. It is wild. We have so many duplexes and single family that have been built over the past century that are in need of rehabilitation. And there are entire areas that are on the upswing as you see more and more investment in them. Places like Bates Hendricks, Fountain Square, just to name a couple near downtown. But there are other really nice areas all around the city. You know, I'm a fan of the Old North Side, just north of downtown. It's a really, really nice area. And there are homes there that could be brought up to date. You have places like Butler Tarkington. That's a really nice area, and you can potentially have a rental there right off of Butler's campus. In fact, Indianapolis has multiple universities where you can have rental income coming in from students. We have IU Indianapolis, Purdue Indianapolis, UIndy, Butler. We have, man, what are you waiting for? There's so much opportunity. I'm not even talking about the employment growth, which is robust. So if I haven't convinced you yet, I don't know what to tell you. This is a place of economic growth, and there's a ton of opportunity no matter what your niche is. But I don't want to just leave you with a bunch of numbers and a bunch of talking. So let's actually work together right now and take a look at what's on the market and what kind of projects you can get into. All right, so now I'm in the MLS. Let's take a look. Let's start with duplexes because I love multifamily. We got duplex, triplex, quadruplex. We have quite a few duplexes. We actually just listed a bunch this year. My wife was the listing agent on them, and there are all sorts of companies, individuals that own multifamily, and they move all the time. There's so many opportunities in this space, all different types. You drive around downtown, like Center Township, and you will find duplexes galore. So you know what? Let's stick with just actives for now. Let's stick with just actives. So I'm not gonna put a price on it. Let's dive into it, and we're gonna only look at Indianapolis today. So Indianapolis, duplex, triplex, 165 on the market. How many do you want right now? How many do you want? Let's get you some rental income. All right. So some of these are going to be finished. Some of them are going to be fixer-uppers. So let's start here in kind of the Center Township area, because there's a lot of opportunity to acquire properties here. So 309. I guarantee this one's already at least partially finished, if not totally done. Yeah, see, look at that. You could put a tenant, I guess 2 tenants in that today. Look at that, ready to go. 300,000. Are you going to be able to acquire that for 300,000 in California and New York? No, you're not. No way. You can get tenants in there today if there aren't already some. All right, 115. Let's take a look at this one. 115. Oh, only 6 images. See? Now we're looking at properties that we can acquire and rehab. Are you a BRRRR investor? Because Indianapolis is a great place to BRRRR. And I'm not saying that because it's cold. I'm saying that because you can buy, you can renovate, you can refinance, and you can reap the benefits. There's lots of opportunities. So that's only 115. And it's been on market 48 days. So the market's saying the 115 might be a little bit high for that. If I were looking to acquire it myself, I'd probably consider, hey, maybe there's an opportunity here. Or maybe they want to sell it at 115. They don't want to go down. You never know until you ask. What I will say is, if you are an investor who likes to just do sub 2 offers, we already have 65 trillion of those in Indianapolis right now. So you are going to have a much higher success rate if you come with solid financing or with cash. I'm not saying there aren't sub 2 opportunities. There are in Indianapolis. There are seller financing opportunities, and a lot of people come in with them, and a lot of sellers get really frustrated by them because they just want to sell their house. So really think through your strategy on what your financing is going to be. And I'd love to talk about that with you, because there are different ways. And I personally work with different lenders depending on what the need is, whatever their financing programs are. You can do hard money, you can do private money, you can do, if you have cash, let's go. Let's go get a property today, because everyone's looking for a strong cash offer. All right, I was talking about Bates Hendricks earlier. Let's look at 197 here. 197, pretty solid for the area price-wise. Looks like it needs renovation, which is what I expected. But that's no problem, right? Because you're an investor, you're used to looking at properties that need renovation. And this one looks like it needs gutted. That's totally fine. No problem there. But if you look just down the street, here's a 585 that's active on the market right now. Looks like it's really nicely redone on the outside. Let's take a look at the pictures. So I like to run ARV individually on these. I don't just make assumptions, even if it's based on an area. But if you've got it active on the market for near 600,000, the other one, what was it? It was like 197. There's meat on the bone there, right? Especially if you have a really good local contractor. If you don't, I know some guys, but there's opportunity. Here's another one. So we're kind of near Fountain Square here. Let's look at the 139 on Dawson Street. 5 images, never a good sign. The vertical image, oh boy, not showing inside. I wonder. I don't know. We could tour it together, but let's bring a flashlight just in case. But look, right 2 streets over, 649. Let's check it out. 55. Yeah, when the price is higher, the picture count goes up. Have you noticed that? When you can afford to pay for a photographer. All right, check it out. Oh, that looks gorgeous, and they're right next to each other. How much meat is on the bone? Do you like eating meat? Even if you're a vegetarian, there's plenty to eat here, but there's a lot of meat on the bone there. Look, 2 streets over. You're talking a 500,000 difference. If you can't renovate that and make a profit, I don't know what to tell you. But those are just a couple areas right there off of downtown. I talked about Old North Side earlier. Not going to find as much in terms of multifamily up there, but my, look at those prices. These are probably ready to go, if I had to guess. 1.8. How many units we got here? 5. Not too shabby. Hey, this is nice. Check this out. I understand why the price is the price now. Only 7 days on market. Hey, let's go. But 5 units at 1.8. I mean, you're looking, north of 300,000 per unit. But compared to, it's a nice area. It's a real nice area. And compared to a lot of other, localities across the country, you're not going to get that. It really just depends on what the rent rates are. And like I said, I don't assume based on any area. I pull it every single time. So if we're working together and you're serious about a deal, then I'm going to pull ARV. I'm going to pull rent rates, and I'm going to do it for that specific property. I'm not just going to give you a general BS number, because that's not going to do you any good as an investor. But these are just some small multifamily ones, but we're only looking downtown, and I see tons of viable projects just right off the bat. But it depends on how much you're coming with. I talk to a lot of investors who want to spend like 40 grand on a property, and those are very rare in Indianapolis now. You can get like a broken down shack for it, but if you're looking in a major metro across the US, that's just very uncommon. I'm not saying it's impossible. And in fact, let's look at one. Actually, we just sold or it just went under contract, a duplex that was listed at 40K, but it had like major fire damage in it. And that's what you're going to be finding at that price rate. So if you're looking for, that kind of price, you're not going to be looking in downtown Indianapolis. Now, I'm not saying there aren't opportunities even in this MLS right here, because, Indiana's on different MLSs. But, we might be looking at like Anderson or, a farther out area than Indianapolis. There are opportunities in that price range, and you can still make great cash flow. All right, let's check it out. Single family residential for sale. Let's cap this at 100. So let's say you're on a budget and you don't want to be dealing with that 1.8 million nonsense for that sweet looking building just off of downtown where all the IU Health doctors live, or whoever's going to live there. All right, let's take a look. See, most of Indianapolis is inside the loop. You have some of it that's outside, like we go Franklin Township, we got Lawrence, we got Geist up here, but most of it, Eagle Creek, most of it's going to be inside the loop. So let's check it out. Actually, I'm kind of curious what's down south of the city. Ooh, 2 bed, 1 bath. That's tiny. Yeah, that's tiny. You can do it. You can do it, but that's not a lot of square footage to play with. All right. 89. Got 75. Let's take a look at what we got. Yeah, so you're 644 square feet. So we're getting a lot smaller houses, as you would expect. 980 square feet. Not too bad. 79K, 824, 2 bed, 1, 3 and 1. Let's narrow this down a little further. And let's actually look. I want a 3 and 2. Let's see if we can get a 3 and 2. I guess you could reconfigure whatever you want. But let's get a 3 and 2 under 100,000 in Indianapolis. All right. 3 and 2 under 100,000 in Indianapolis. And that's all I put in there. So 5 options. All right. Let's just check them out. Yeah. This is a nice rehab project. You got to tear it up, but that's no problem. Let's pop in. You got to clean it up. You got to tear it up. No big deal. That's a viable project though. And it's not even 80 grand. Not even listed at 80 grand. So you just got to look at the, foundational elements, make sure everything's good, not all ripped up in the mechanicals. Yeah, here's another one. Look at that. Perfect for gut. Ready to go for a project for you, 80 grand. Here we go. Another one, same thing. It's going to be the same on all these. So this is what you're looking at. But you're not the only investor looking at these. I have people every single day. I am not exaggerating. Every single day, call our team line, call me personally, text me, and say, oh, what do you have? And I will tell you another thing, and I know you're already thinking it because you're a savvy investor. You're thinking, Evan, what do you have off market? Okay? I'm not a wholesaler. I am not postcarding people and trying to buy their house with a cash offer or trying to sell a contract to you. You know, I do know people who do that. It's a viable option. I'm telling you that it doesn't matter if you get it off market or on market. The deal is the deal, and you need to see if your numbers work. The property is the property, and sometimes the best properties you're going to find are on the market. Just because it's off the market doesn't mean it's the best deal. And I know off market is a really sexy term, and it's like, oh man, I'm going straight to the seller. I don't need these agents and these MLS. No, it doesn't matter. The property is the property. The home is the home. So really what you need is the right property. And working with me, I'm your investor broker buddy. We're going to find the best property. We're going to find a deal together. But I need you to make me a promise. Make me a promise. Do not just keep asking me for thing after thing after thing. If I find you a deal that makes sense and fits your criteria, promise me that you are going to act on it. I meet and talk to so many investors who love talking about deals. They love talking about, oh, I'm going to acquire this, but they don't actually do anything. And if you don't buy a property, you can't renovate the property. You can't put a renter in the property. And like, what are we doing here? It's just a waste of your time, waste of my time, and it's a way you're not making any money. So if you're a serious investor, let's talk about serious investing, but let's put a timeline on it and make sure you're getting a property and taking action so that you're not missing out on opportunity. Because the more delay you have over time, you're just missing out on that rental income. You're missing out on the next project that you could have started because you started this one sooner. So let's not waste time. All right, now if you are looking for something that's more like ready to go, we've got a million options for that. I'm not even going to dig into that on the MLS because why bother? I'm not going to show you finished houses and finished duplexes. We already looked at some of the multifamily, and there's more like that. So if you want to pay a premium and already have places that are renting out, we have options for that. That is not a problem whatsoever. So if you're looking for somewhere to stick your funds and you want cash flow, hey, let's talk through that as well. If you're looking for somewhere to rehab, to burr, to flip, hey, we've got options for that. And they're really pretty affordable options in the grand scheme of things. But if you're looking outside of Indianapolis, you can get some lower cost properties. It's just in general, the ARV is probably going to be lower in some smaller towns, smaller, more far-flung cities across central Indiana. Now, if you're looking in the higher median price suburbs, if you're looking in Carmel, if you're looking in Westfield, Fishers, Zionsville, Brownsburg, whatever, you are going to pay a premium on those areas. That's just how it goes. The median home price is higher in all those areas. And what I would caution you is when you're looking at projects in those areas, be very, very careful about what the rental rules are in specific communities there, because a lot of them either prohibit entirely having rentals, looking at you, Carmel, or put a very, very serious cap on them. It really just depends. And it's a community by community, town by town thing, but it's something that you, as my savvy investor friend, really need to pay attention to. And that's why you're working with me, your local broker. And even if you're local to Indianapolis, that's fine. I'm still your local friend, and we can meet up for coffee. The only difference, if you're not here, maybe it's a virtual coffee, and we meet up on Zoom. Did I mention my Zoom links below? If I didn't, schedule right now. Let's make you money. I want to make you money. And I like making money too. Let's do it together. All right. One more thing for you before we go. Let's take a look at large-scale multifamily opportunities. There are more commercial opportunities beyond multifamily, but I like multifamily. I like units. I like rent. So let's look at some of what's available. And if you are the investor that I think you are, watching this deep into the video, then you know that what I said earlier about off-market when it comes to large-scale multifamily does not apply. You are probably going to find the best deal off-market for large-scale multifamily. And I will help make that happen for you, but that is not my primary specialty as a broker. I'm going to be upfront with you. To date, I am not listing large-scale multifamily properties, but that doesn't mean you can't find deals that work on the market. It depends on what your numbers are. Let's underwrite together. What's your underwriting template? I've got a great underwriting template. But let's check out what's on the market right now. So we have 1.3. How many units we got here? 28 days on market. 7-unit apartment building. So there are 2 bedrooms and there's a 1-bedroom unit. They say a 9% ROI, but we don't care what their numbers say, right? You're the investor. We're going to run our own numbers. We're going to underwrite together. We got nothing in terms of pictures, so I guess we got to check this one out together. But 7 units at 1.2 million, it could work. It depends on what it looks like. All right, what else we got? 1.3 Biscayne. I've seen this one on the market. Yeah, 208 days. All right, 17 units. All right, hey, look at that. We already got more units for our dollars. But this one's been on market 200 days. What mysteries lie underneath? Something that we need to check out. Looks like we got different types of units here. 2 1-bedrooms, 4 2-bedrooms, 6 3-bedrooms, 4 4-bedrooms. There's a condo. Okay, there's a lot going on there. That's actually a pretty unique mix, and maybe a little more unique than I personally would like, but maybe you like a nice variety when you're renting out places. I like a little more uniformity, personally. All right, let's head downtown. All right, we got Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, this looks like an older building. When's the year built? Built. There's no year. It's just built. It was built at some point. All right, we got 6 units here, 1.5 million. Look at these pictures. These are some cool looking units. Cool, but not very many of them are shown. So I'm gonna guess that we've got some renters in place already. So maybe you're cash flowing already. But run your numbers on these. Let's run them together. Maybe you like that style of building. Me, I might prefer a little bit of a different style of building. What are we doing here? 210? How many units? 284 days on market. Instant money maker, they say. Growing neighborhood. All right. How many units we got? 5-door unit. Talking like $40,000 per unit? Why are we still on the market after 208 days? Okay, something's going on with these pictures here. But this is what I'm saying. We got to do our due diligence. We don't just jump into large multifamily deals. We got to check them out. Because there's some nice things. There's some confusing things. Definitely one that would be worth checking out. So anyway, my point is there's 23 just in MyBor alone. And that's not everything that's available in the market. They're not always just listed on MyBor. I'm not going to dive into other commercial listings. If you're interested in other commercial spaces, I can definitely help you with that. It's not what I do on a day-to-day basis. I will be perfectly honest with you. I'm not out buying like warehouses and trailer parks and car washes and whatever else. But I can help you. I'm certainly happy to help. So on the residential side, you can see there are a ton of opportunities. We have single-family rentals, large-scale multifamily, and sort of that sweet spot in between of the smaller-scale multifamily as well. We have places that need renovation and places that are ready to go and ready to cash flow and are already cash flowing. So no matter what you're looking for, you can make money here in Indianapolis. And I highly recommend you come here while the prices are still not at a place commensurate with the rest of the country, because Indianapolis continues to grow year over year. And while a lot of other Midwest cities are declining, Indianapolis is like the freaking beacon of Gondor being lit for economic growth. So come check it out. Let's check it out together. If you are international, if you are across the country, or if you are a fellow Hoosier like me, let's talk. All my info is below. The best way to do it is to schedule a Zoom with me, because I want to have a serious conversation with you about what your investment goals are. And then I want to approach this project with all manner of seriousness. I don't like just looking at properties, occasionally just sending you something. I want to work on it like an actual project for you, with a timeline, with clear understanding that we need financing in place and that you have specific financial goals that we need to hit. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm going to do for you. So, are you ready to invest in the Hoosier State? I sure hope so. I invest in the Hoosier State and will continue to do so because I love this place and I live here. And I highly recommend you come check it out with me. And if you'd like to, hit me up below. I'm Evan Deal with the Lead Icon team in eXp Realty, and we'll see you in the next one.